For weeks, the team has been exploring the shaft with the high-tech robot. It's well armed for the job, but it won't be easy. The stone's 200 feet up an extremely steep shaft, and getting there is only part of the battle.
A battle indeed. Well, that's the first part of the journey done. I'm a bit out of breath. I've just made it 120 feet up these steep steps here. But you know, it was worth it because I'm now right inside the heart of the Great Pyramid.
They scanned the Great Pyramid with cosmic rays and found a perfectly symmetrical 30-meter void that no one knew existed. But that was just the beginning. Infrared heat glitches, sealed doors with copper handles, and missing capstones are now forcing scientists to rethink everything.
If you have the same material in a structure, you're expecting to have in the same orientation, more or less. You expect to have the same thermal signature.
What if the Great Pyramid wasn't just a tomb, but a machine? You'll be shocked when you hear what they're uncovering next. The Great Pyramid's timeless puzzle. We've all heard of the Great Pyramid of Giza, built during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu around 2560 BCE. At its peak, the pyramid shimmered under the desert sun, covered in white Tura limestone casing stones that made it visible from miles away. For generations, many believed that every chamber inside had already been uncovered. After all, British engineer Wayman Dixon explored it in the 1800s, and decades later, robotic probes ventured deep into its narrow shafts during the 1990s and early 2000s. But in 2017, everything changed. Scientists used a technique called Muon tomography, a non-invasive method that detects cosmic ray particles, known as muons, as they pass through solid stone. It works like a natural X-ray, using radiation provided by the universe itself. What they found left experts speechless, a massive hidden void inside the pyramid, completely untouched since it was built. What shocked researchers wasn't just the presence of the space, but its size and precision.
Using a technique called muography, researchers planted special plates inside and around the pyramid that recognize subatomic particles passing through the rock, revealing what is stone and what is empty space.
The cavity stretches at least 30 meters in length, about the same as a New York City subway car, and sits directly above the Grand Gallery, the steep corridor leading to the King's Chamber. The void is symmetrical, intentional, and sealed off from any known entrance. In the data, the void showed up as an area where more muons passed through than expected, meaning it was less dense than the surrounding stone. It wasn't a crack or a natural flaw, it was something designed. This discovery reignited age-old debates. Was the pyramid merely a tomb, or was it something more? An astronomical device, a repository of ancient knowledge, or even an architectural message encoded in limestone? No one truly knows. There are no external signs of access, no inscriptions, and no modern scans that can fully see inside. It's as if this space was meant to be forgotten, but this was only the beginning of what they found. Not just a void, a masterclass in geometry. When the void above the Grand Gallery was first discovered, many assumed it was just a natural cavity, perhaps an accidental gap or leftover from construction. But as scientists analyzed the three-dimensional Muon tomography data more closely, a surprising pattern began to emerge. This wasn't random at all. The void appeared to be perfectly aligned with the pyramid's central axis. Even more puzzling, its proportions hinted at intentional symmetry, suggesting that the ancient builders may have embedded geometric knowledge directly into the stone itself. The Grand Gallery, a steep corridor leading upward to the King's Chamber, is already considered an architectural wonder. Its corbelled ceiling and narrow rising path help distribute the immense weight of the stones above it. Now, this newly detected void, positioned directly above the Grand Gallery, seems to mirror that same shape, but suspended invisibly within the pyramid's core. According to scientists from the Scan Pyramids project, the void's structure may resemble a gabled arch, which could indicate it wasn't just symbolic, but had a specific engineering purpose, possibly to divert pressure and prevent the collapse of the passage below. What makes this even more astonishing is that some computer simulations suggest the Egyptians may have used this technique more than 1,000 years before the Romans, who are widely credited with mastering arches and domes. If this void was designed to behave like an internal arch, it would mean the Egyptians had already developed advanced methods for load distribution long before those principles became widespread in the Western world. And that's just the beginning. The entire pyramid is a masterclass in math and geometry. Each side of the pyramid's base is approximately 230 meters long, and the difference in length between any two sides is less than 20 centimeters. The internal shafts are angled with laser-like accuracy. The pyramid is oriented within 3/60ths of a degree of true north. more precise than the Greenwich Observatory, which was constructed with modern tools thousands of years later. Then there's the matter of the void's placement. Some researchers have proposed that the chamber's location aligns with sacred geometric ratios, specifically the golden ratio, phi, and pi. Though this theory is still debated, it has drawn serious interest from mathematicians and architects alike. While skeptics argue that these patterns might simply be coincidences imposed by modern minds, others believe the evidence is too precise to ignore, particularly when you consider that multiplying the pyramid's height by the square of its base perimeter gives a result remarkably close to the Earth's circumference. That's not the kind of number you'd stumble upon by accident. There's also a more mysterious theory, that the void may function as a resonance chamber. While this idea borders on the fringe, there's compelling support for it. The King's Chamber is known to produce strong acoustic effects. Sound frequencies resonate unusually well within its granite walls, hinting that some parts of the pyramid may have been tuned, not unlike a musical instrument. Taken together, these clues suggest we might not be looking at a simple cavity, but a message carefully carved into stone. The forgotten air shafts. Are they the pyramid's secret communication channels? Long before the Muon scans exposed a massive void inside the Great Pyramid, another structural enigma puzzled explorers and engineers alike, the so-called air shafts. Carved with astonishing precision and barely wide enough to fit a soda can, these narrow passages were first noticed in the 19th century, yet to this day, no one can fully explain their purpose. 2 shafts rise from the King's Chamber and 2 from the Queen's Chamber, each aligned roughly with certain stars in the night sky, Orion's Belt, Sirius, and others. Early archaeologists thought they might be ventilation shafts, but this theory collapsed when they realized the Queen's Chamber shafts didn't even exit the pyramid's surface. They simply terminate inside the stone, going nowhere visible. But here's the twist. These shafts almost align with the position of the newly discovered void, not directly intersecting, but eerily close. Some theorists believe the shafts were more than functional, that they were symbolic conduits, meant to allow the soul of the pharaoh to ascend to the stars, or even act as acoustic or electromagnetic pathways. In 1993, a robotic probe built by German engineer Rudolf Gantenbrink was sent up one of these shafts. After climbing nearly 65 meters, the robot encountered a small limestone door, complete with 2 mysterious copper handles. It was sealed tight, and behind it, no one knew. The project was abruptly shut down. Gantenbrink was dismissed from further involvement. The sudden silence fueled speculation. Was something found behind that door that wasn't meant for public eyes? A decade later, in 2002, National Geographic launched a follow-up with the Pyramid Rover robot. It drilled a tiny hole through the Gantenbrink door, only to find another stone block behind it. A second door, as if the pyramid was layered in secrets, deliberately frustrating intrusion with puzzle box precision. Now, with the Muon scan revealing a large void just above the Grand Gallery, very near the axis these shafts follow. Some believe the two are connected, not physically, but philosophically. Could these narrow passages have been part of a larger hidden system inside the pyramid? A symbolic communication network? Or were they precision-aligned markers used to map internal geometry, indirectly pointing to something deeper? What adds to the mystery is how modern engineers cannot replicate their construction using simple Bronze Age tools. The shafts have perfect corners, uniform diameter, and make angular turns while remaining level, a feat nearly impossible without advanced boring techniques or surveying systems. This level of control over such narrow spaces suggests the builders had unprecedented mastery over internal architecture. And in a final twist, recent simulations using LiDAR and 3-dimensional modeling suggest that sound waves could have propagated through these shafts in unique ways. Some acoustic researchers theorize they may have acted like resonators, subtly enhancing vibrations or guiding sound from ceremonial chants, turning the pyramid into an ancient sound chamber designed to carry the voice of the dead. The pyramid's temperature anomaly, a thermal glitch that shouldn't exist. In 2015, 2 years before the Muon scan revealed the hidden void, another strange phenomenon was quietly detected on the eastern face of the Great Pyramid. And to this day, scientists can't fully explain it. Using infrared thermography, a team of researchers led by Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities and experts from Cairo University and the HIP Institute in France scanned the pyramid at sunrise and sunset to track how the stones absorbed and released heat. What they found left them stunned. In one specific area, near the base of the pyramid's eastern side, 3 adjacent limestone blocks showed a distinct temperature difference of up to 6 degrees Celsius compared to surrounding stones. This might sound small, but in thermal imaging, that's enormous. It meant these blocks were either hollow, made from different material, or covering an internal cavity that was affecting heat transfer. This wasn't a random glitch. The anomaly persisted at different times of day, under different light and weather conditions. The team ruled out shadows, reflections, and surface wear. Something behind those stones was causing the heat to behave differently, but no known chamber is documented at that location. Even more fascinating, the anomaly is located not far from the so-called Robber's Tunnel, an entry carved centuries ago by looters trying to access the internal chambers. Some experts believe the Robber's Tunnel might have just missed an entire undiscovered corridor or room, hidden deeper within the pyramid's masonry, one possibly connected to the same architecture as the newly revealed void. One theory proposes that this temperature anomaly could signal an alternate hidden entrance, long sealed, perhaps used during construction or religious rituals, and then deliberately blocked to obscure its presence. Others speculate it may mark the edge of an undocumented chamber, never touched, just like the upper void. Incredibly, this wasn't the only thermal oddity. Smaller fluctuations were observed at other points along the pyramid's surface, suggesting a network of inconsistently dense regions, hinting that the internal layout may be far more complex than what's currently mapped. What makes the eastern face anomaly so intriguing is how it predates the Muon discovery, yet both hint at internal cavities invisible to the naked eye. Could this be part of the same architectural secret? Or are we seeing layered design elements, carefully encoded to mimic randomness, while actually masking sacred geometries and lost chambers? As thermal imaging technology improves and overlays with Muon and LiDAR scans, this anomaly is becoming a focal point of interest, not because of what's visible, but because of what it refuses to reveal. A heat signature with no room, no passage, no explanation. The mysterious missing capstone, a clue to the void's true purpose. One of the most overlooked but deeply mysterious aspects of the Great Pyramid is what's not there: the capstone. That final piece, the pyramid's crown jewel, has been missing for centuries, possibly even millennia. Ancient texts suggest the capstone may have once been made of electrum, a shimmering alloy of gold and silver, or highly polished limestone that glowed in the sun like fire. But today, all that remains is a flat, unfinished platform at the summit. Why would such a perfectly engineered structure be left incomplete at the top? Now, with the discovery of the 30-meter-long void perfectly aligned along the vertical axis, and resting just above the Grand Gallery, a provocative new theory is emerging. The missing capstone and the mysterious void might be connected. Some researchers believe the void may have once served a stabilizing or harmonic function, possibly tied to the pyramid's electromagnetic properties. In 2018, a study published in the Journal of Applied Physics simulated how the pyramid would respond to radio waves. And surprisingly, the model suggested that the pyramid could concentrate electromagnetic energy in its internal chambers and the region of the base and apex under certain conditions. Could the void be an energy channel and the capstone once acted like an amplifier or terminal point? It's not just modern speculation. Ancient Egyptian mythology described the Ben stone, a sacred pointed relic that represented the first land that rose from the waters of chaos. It was believed to house divine power, and its shape resembles a pyramidion, the capstone shape. Some accounts link this stone directly to the eye at the top of the pyramid, a symbol of divine oversight and cosmic connection. More intriguingly, old Islamic texts, such as al-Makrizi's accounts, mention that the original Great Pyramid capstone was either removed during a cataclysm or stolen in antiquity. But why would it be taken, unless it served a greater, possibly guarded function? There's even fringe speculation suggesting that the void might have once supported or housed an internal structure that connected all the way to the apex, forming a sort of vertical axis of energy or sound, with the capstone acting like a resonator or lens. This theory also ties into the pyramid's precise alignment with celestial bodies. If the capstone was more than symbolic, perhaps a technological or ceremonial piece, its removal could have disrupted the internal balance, leaving the void as an orphaned chamber no longer serving its purpose. So perhaps the void isn't the mystery at all. Maybe it's the absence of what sat above it, the capstone, that left the void behind like a severed limb. And just maybe, whatever once capped the pyramid wasn't lost by accident, but taken, hidden, or destroyed for reasons we still don't understand. Nikola Tesla's pyramid obsession. Did he know something about the void? Few people know that Nikola Tesla, the brilliant inventor behind alternating current and wireless electricity, was obsessed with pyramids, particularly the Great Pyramid of Giza. And what's even stranger, Tesla believed that the pyramid's shape was not just symbolic, but a key to harnessing energy from the Earth itself. In the early 1900s, Tesla patented designs for what he called wireless power transmission towers, the most famous being the Wardenclyffe Tower in New York. But the shape he used for the buried foundation of that tower was no accident. It mirrored the proportions of the Great Pyramid. He believed that the Earth itself was a conductor of electrical vibrations, and that the pyramid's shape and placement had something to do with drawing energy from the planet. Tesla once said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." That quote has taken on new meaning after the 2017 discovery of the 30-meter void, which, to some researchers, sits in a position that could resonate with sound or electromagnetic energy. Now, here's where it gets eerie. Tesla was fascinated by a very specific geographic detail, the location of the Great Pyramid. It is situated at 30 degrees north latitude and 31 degrees east longitude, almost exactly at the geographic center of Earth's land mass. That's not symbolic, that's mathematical. Tesla saw this positioning as significant, possibly even intentional, suggesting the ancient builders knew more about Earth's geophysics than we've credited them for. In fact, the pyramid's latitude of 29.9792 degrees north is nearly identical to the speed of light in meters per second, 299,792,458 meters per second. While this is likely coincidence, since meters are a modern unit, some theorists argue that this numerical alignment hints at a deeper pattern the builders may have encoded, and that Tesla noticed it long before it became a meme on the internet. Some researchers now speculate, what if the void was not just an architectural feature, but a capacitor-like chamber, part of an ancient attempt to interact with natural forces in the Earth, similar to Tesla's tower? Could it have once been filled with materials that enhanced its properties, like granite, which contains quartz and responds to vibration, or even gold? While there's no hard evidence that Tesla ever saw the void, it hadn't been discovered yet. He wrote frequently about the cosmic resonance he believed ancient people understood. And the Great Pyramid, in his mind, wasn't just a tomb, it was a machine. Drop your wildest theory in the comments, and if you're hooked on ancient secrets still hiding in plain sight, don't forget to subscribe for what's coming next.